Most of this footage was recorded over a year ago. A lot has changed since I 100%ed the garden, including the greenhouse update, which finally gave me the motivation to finish this video. But you know what they say, better late than never. So here is me 100%ing the garden 1 year ago. In my infinite quest for SkyBlock XP, there are 5 major grinds left for me in this game. Class average, powder mining, bestiary, burning an extraordinary amount of coins for minuscule stat increases, and the focus of this video, the garden. It took me hundreds of hours and losing billions of coins to greedy visitors, but in the end, this is my journey to 100%ing the garden on Hypixel SkyBlock. Our story starts on June 17th, 2024. On that day, I pulled a shiny Necron's handle. I gave it to my friend who got ratted, it's a long story, and having not much else to do, I turned to the garden. According to my math, completely maxing it would net me 5 billion coins in revenue, which is not even including RNGs. Around 1.5 billion of these coins will be used to max out the composter, and another few billion will be burned on the visitors. However, I knew I would have more than enough with the rest of the coins. I began by buying the final tiers of Pestterminator and Green Thumb and getting 11 perfect Peridot gemstones to maximize my farming fortune. At this time, Dedication 4 still carried a hefty cost of 100 million coins per book, so I skipped those for now, and the grind began. I started with sugarcane because it was the highest crop I had so far. On July 21st, I got cultivating 10 on my hoe. On the way, I was maximizing pest spawns because maxing the bestiaries now would yield faster milestones later due to not having to deal with them as often, on top of the extra farming fortune the bestiaries gave. During this first grind, the Better Mirrors update dropped, and one of the consequences was that Dedication 4 books were dumped into the economy thanks to Finnegan, falling to 30 million coins per book. I bought 9 Dedication 4 books for that price, expecting the price to go back up after Finnegan left. However, in typical Hypixel admin fashion, the perk was bugged, and the mythic visitor that gave Dedication 4 kept showing up, causing the price of the book to fall to just 10 million coins. I was slightly upset, but I guess it isn't as bad because they went right back up to 100 million coins per book because in typical Hypixel admin fashion, the perk was bugged again after they tried to fix it, and the mythic visitors stopped showing up at all. Although it took so long to make this video that they actually fixed that bug, and now prices are back to a reasonable 50 million coins per book. Eventually, I realized that while my cane farm was sufficient, the rest of my farms were not up to standards, and so I began rebuilding them.
It was at this moment he knew.
The problem here is that I had built the top layer of my cactus farm 1 block too low, which was not efficient. This error caused an additional hour or so of headaches, but eventually I fixed the issue. The downside was that I lost another 10 minutes or so on progress on building the ends, but that didn't matter because I already knew how to build them, so I didn't lose as much time. Future strat again. When I was writing this script, I did not realize that this cactus setup was also inefficient because once again, in typical Hypixel admin fashion, cacti were also bugged. The problem is less severe than having it built 2 blocks tall only, but it still affects rates nonetheless. If I left the garden and caused it to unload while crops are still growing, any cacti on the bottom layer that were not fully grown when the island unloaded would not grow to 3 blocks tall. I think I lost 1 to 2 hours to this bug, but whatever, moving on. If you want to copy this far, make sure the lower layer is 4 blocks tall, not 3. I won't bother fixing this because I'm probably not going to farm cactus anymore. Anyway, back to the video. With my more efficient farms, I was able to get a more accurate estimate of how much time I would need to max the garden, cutting tens of hours from the previous estimate. At this point, I had maxed all the pest species. Just in time to finish sugarcane milestones on August 10th. 1 out of 10 crops done. Now that all distractions besides visitors have been taken care of, I could begin putting serious hours into the grind. My next crop was carrots. However, to maximize efficiency, I had to visit the Rift. This is because of an item called exportable carrots, which gives plus 12 carrot fortune. So I spent about an hour getting some before getting mad at the dumb rabbits and just buying the rest of them off the bazaar. Other crops with such buffs include pumpkins, which I had already obtained, as well as wheat, which I didn't record. Eventually, I will have to come back to the Rift to suffer at the hands of RNGesus in getting 5 McRubbers burgers, but that is an issue future me will deal with. Future strat again. I finished the awful burger grind, it was not fun. Also, there is a new exportable crop, half-eaten mushrooms, that I did not get to utilize because the backward Bayou update was not out yet. And don't get me started on Wardy. Also, the greenhouse update makes it so that exportable crops are required for max XP. About time. I also maxed out the cocoa beans fortune perk, meaning that I have obtained all current exportable crop bonuses. The reason I decided to do carrots next was to get carrot candy to level the last of my pets to level 100. So for a while, I was throwing all my crops at those, until eventually I had a completely maxed out pet menu besides the Kudra pet. Side note, golden carrots are so fun to get and use to craft. On September 4th, I got Cultivating 10 on the carrot hoe, and then on September 15th, carrot was also complete. 2 out of 10 crops done. Next up is potatoes. From here, there isn't much of an order besides what I felt like doing. Potatoes and netherworts are very easy to farm and require minimal brain power, so I decided to do them next. During this grind, I served 5,000 visitors, which is halfway to the 10,000 mark, maxed out the composter, and got every single crop upgrade to tier 9. The saving grace is that although I would still be losing money to visitors, I had no more need for copper and could sell them to recoup some costs. On September 26th, I got cultivated 10 on my potato hoe. Then, at around 5,800 visitors on October 4th, this happened. Okay, so I just got a spaceman. He wants cane. He wants 9,700 cane. Holy shit. Well, I guess he can stay here. I don't know what to do with this. But yeah, I guess you can stay for now. So I went back to M7, got mage 50, dropped one scroll and my first claymore, and served the spaceman on October 8th. Finally, I maxed out potatoes on October 10th. 3 out of 10 crops done. After I finished potatoes, the museum update dropped, giving me over 1.7 million available bits from a museum rank. I realized that this amount of bits corresponded almost perfectly with how many coins I needed to complete Jacobus. Next up is Netherward. On October 28th, I got Cultivated 10 and maxed out the milestone on November 2nd, officially being more than halfway through the grind. 4 out of 10 crops done. Now you might be asking, 4 out of 10 crops and halfway done? How? This is because I have been slowly working on wheat and mushroom. Wheat from flies and mushrooms from the mushroom cow perk. But by this point, I realized that I had to do extra farming dedicated to mushrooms and that I was not going to get enough from my pet. So I got my Daedalus axe to Chimera 5 in preparation for this. Future strat again. You can no longer use Daedalus axe to farm because admins hate fun and disabled swords breaking crops on the garden. My next set of crops was melon and pumpkins. During the first day, I found out that my farm design from earlier was terrible and not very user-friendly, so I changed it. Instead of finishing a row and having to maneuver my way through the farm, I added stairs at the end, so I could finish a column and use the efficiency of dropping down, and only have 2 instances of downtime instead of 6. Because of this change, my efficiency shot up a lot. On November 14th, I got Cultivated 10 on my melon dicer, but I was dumb and I didn't record it. Oh well. Also during this grind, something interesting happened. I just got another spaceman. $7,764, okay. He wants cane again, oh my god. I mean, I don't need another space helmet, so like... Anyway, I maxed out melon on November 18th. 5 out of 10 crops done. While I was farming melons, the admins dropped an update on alpha that made fly farming not as efficient as it used to be. In addition, I needed 3,405 pests to max out the update on day 1, and I only had 2,400. So I was planning on farming mushrooms to both get 3,405 pests and max out the wheat milestones while catching up with mushroom milestones before the update dropped. However, literally the next day, the update dropped on the main server, so I ended up farming wheat manually anyway. I changed my vacuum to attract slugs and placed plant matter in the new mouse traps to also attract slugs. Although fly farming was dead, they buffed drops from other pests across the board, so I opted to use them to make up the mushroom deficit. Also, this happened. Okay, so I came to my garden, and there's another spaceman. Okay, what do you want this time? Melons. Like, I don't need another... Like, why would I need a third one? On November 21st, I maxed out the wheat milestone. 6 out of 10 crops done. With this minor wrench out of the way, next up was pumpkins. On November 24th, I got cultivating 9 on my pumpkin dicer. Don't ask me to get cultivating 10, I don't want to farm more than I need to. I caught enough field mice to max out the bestiary on November 29th, and just before the clock struck midnight, max out pumpkins. 7 out of 10 crops done. Continuing with the trend of squash crops, I moved on to cocoa beans. On December 3rd, I got cultivating 10 on my cocoa chopper, and maxed out cocoa beans on December 9th. 8 out of 10 crops done. Finally, the worst crop in my opinion, cactus. I was not looking forward to this, as it was the most micro-intensive of the crops, required me to use my brain and switch lanes every 24 seconds. Even worse, I was now in a race against time. I was leaving to go on vacation on the evening of December 14th, meaning I only had 5.5 days left to finish my mission. So I made the painful decision to burn 100 million coins and start chucking pests at Philip instead of selling them for coins, shaving off around 4 to 5 hours from the grind. I also got another major milestone on December 9th. Alright, it is now 3 in the morning. I've been farming since 3 p.m. today, basically. And I have 9,999 visitors served. So whoever appears next, unless it's Spaceman, will be my last visitor, potentially ever. Cool, it's you. Oh my god. 10,000 visitors. Max tier reached. I'm free. I don't have to hoard stuff anymore. I have been hanging on to all this shit since I started. And now I can finally do that. Just quickly sell the rest. Oh my god, that is a lot of money. Anyway, I don't think I will be serving any more visitors. So cool, I'm done. Also, this didn't make it into the last clip, but I can finally start doing that. Oh my god. The Rift Mountaintop also dropped, so I lost a day while I was playing that. By the way, whoever designed the Enigma souls in that area can. In addition, I dropped a wild strawberry dye during my grind session on December 12th. Finally, in the early mornings of December 13th, I got cultivating 10 on my cactus knife and maxed out cactus later in the evening. 9 out of 10 crops done. Now I was on the home stretch. I was only missing mushrooms, and I would be free from this hellhole forever. And so I began the final push to completion. Finally, after 764 hours on the garden over 180 days, suffering through one of the worst grinds in existence in Hypixel SkyBlock, a grind over 7 times worse than foraging 50 before the foraging update, I achieved Alright, it is currently 4:14 in the morning on the day I'm supposed to leave for vacation. And I'm finished. Look at this. Wheat 46, carrot 46, potato 46, pumpkin 46, cane 46, melon 46, cactus 46, cocoa beans 46, mushroom 46, netherwort 46. Basically 10,000 visitors. And if we look over here, this is all maxed out. Same with all of these. I never have to deal with this stupid island or this stupid skill ever again. Holy shit, that took forever. I'm so glad to be done. Over the course of this grind, I made at least 5 billion coins in revenue. While I have no clue where these coins went, hell, I have no clue how much I made exactly, nor where I got it all from, I was able to buy most of what I wanted. And now that this chapter of my SkyBlock journey is done, it is time to return to an even longer grind. Class average 50. But for now, that concludes the Garden Saga and this video. Thank you so much for... actually, you don't have 100% garden. Wait, what? What do you mean? Are you sure you served every unique visitor? So you have chosen death. Wait, I can explain! Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I don't usually post high effort videos like this one. My previous one was the Cat of 50 video almost 2 years ago, so your support might push me to make more of these. By the way, do you remember those 1.7 million bits from earlier? Also, between the release of the Cat of 50 video and this one, I dropped an additional 16 Necrons handles. What can I say? I'm just RNG carried.